Tonight I would like to talk about Enlightenment and the Lodge. I will not refer to anything that's inappropriate for an entered apprentice, so just give that caveat before I start. Last time we had this short talk, I mentioned that Freemasonry can be divided into a soft function and a hard function. The soft function is the ritual of Freemasonry, and the hard function is the actual lodge itself. And tonight I'd like to talk about the lodge side, as we already talked about the ritual previously. So a candidate joins our organization in a state of darkness. It's what we term spiritual poverty. And so when he arrives in the lodge, he is placed in the north of the lodge. The north is a place of darkness, meaning basically unenlightened, and so spiritual poverty. And that's where he starts his Masonic journey. And the north is called, is referred to as such because in the past suicides and convicted criminals and babies who had not been baptized, who had died, were buried in the north side of the church, outside the churchyard, because the sun didn't shine on that part of the land. So we sit our new candidates in the north to show them that they're at that time spiritually unenlightened. In contrast to this, the east, wisdom, represents spirituality, and the west, strength, represents reason. And where the two of them meet is in the south. And the south, for us, should represent that balance between spiritual intuition and reasoned or rational understanding. And this is a balance that Freemasons should try and achieve. So the south is this balance, which is therefore diametrically opposite the north. In the north, information is received through the five senses of hearing and tasting and touch, etc. So we could also think of it as a progression of consciousness. In the north, place of darkness, where you're working only with your senses. You go to the east, where you receive spiritual information. In the west, you have reason. And if you balance them in the south, the balance between that spiritual information and the reasoned understanding gives you enlightenment. And it's that enlightenment, the combination of a reasoned understanding and the spiritual intuition, which is so opposite of those who have to sit in the north. So is the lodge just about cardinal points? We know that this lodge also represents King Solomon's temple, and each degree is a different part of that temple. So we start with the outer chamber, the inner chamber, and then finally we meet the Sanctum Sanctorum, the Holy of Holies in the temple. All this is achieved without props and without backdrops. It's just our imagination and the words and the ritual that give us this, that change this building for us as we move through it. But I think the important thing to remember that the lodge is more than just a stage. It is a power center. In modern terms, we call this a power spot. And it's this energy that adds to the ritual work that we do. It empowers us, so to speak. And if you need to, or you wish to know more about this, there's a book, a very interesting book called The Mysteries of the Cathedrals, written by Fulcanelli, a French alchemist. Don't expect it to be easy to read. As one reviewer said, and I quote, it is written in a cryptic and erudite manner, replete with Latin and Greek puns, alchemical symbolism, double entendres, and lectures on argot and incant, all of which serve to keep casual readers ignorant. well, nobody said Freemasonry was easy. So I'd like you to start you on your journey of discovery with 3 questions. The first one is to do with the 3 lesser lights, which represent the sun, the moon, and the master of the lodge. We say it all the time, but where is the moon? What moon? It isn't in the ritual, and I don't see it here identified. So why is one of the lights dedicated to the moon? Something, if you think about it, you can find an answer. The second thing is the blazing star in the center. What star? It can't be the sun, because the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. It isn't in the middle of the room. Is it Venus? Is it something else? This is something you should think about. And the third thing, which people don't take as being unusual, but coming from a Church of England background, I find unusual, is why is the altar in the middle of the room? In a church or chapel, the altar is in the east.
In English lodges, it's in the east.
Hmm?
In English lodges, it's in the east. English Constitution lodges.
Most of them do. That is true. I'm talking about this one specifically. But there is actually a reason for this, and that is I will raise if I have another opportunity to give a short talk. But it's these sort of questions that we should be, rather than taking everything for granted, we should ask ourselves, why is it like this? What is it showing me? Not just in the ritual, but in the building itself. And so good luck with the search, trying to find those answers. The last thing I would like to mention is that I've also planned a short talk on the relationship between the tree of life and the lodge. And that answers a lot of questions. Anyway, so I'll leave it at that. I think that's 5 minutes. Thank you very much.